Hi everyone, in this video I want to go over how to change from an E2 visa to a D4 visa while living in Korea. A few things to keep in mind while watching this video. I am from the USA and I don't know if this process is similar for any other country. Make sure you do your research and contact the immigration hotline for your country's specific process. So a little about me, I used to be an English teacher here in Korea until I decided that I wanted to change to a D4 visa to study Korean. But when I looked online to find resources on how to do that, I didn't find a lot. So I decided to make this video to help other people who might be in the same situation. The first step in this process is choosing your school. So when you're choosing your school, these are a few things that I would say people consider. So some people have the school preference, the popularity, the location, materials, the price, and the application process. The first thing that people usually think about when choosing your school is a school preference. A lot of people already have a school preference. They already know what school they want to go to. But some people choose their school based on popularity, so maybe a really well-known school like Seoul National or Yonsei. Some people choose their school based on location. They already have a city they want to live in. So me personally, I chose my school because I knew I wanted to live in Gyeonggi-do, so I searched for language schools in Gyeonggi-do. Some people are used to using certain materials and certain books, so they want to stick with schools that use those same materials. Some people choose their school based on the price, so this price doesn't differ very much between schools, but some schools are cheaper than other schools. And lastly, some people choose their school based on the application process. Some schools have like a completely online application process, which is a little bit easier in my opinion, while some schools you actually have to send physical copies of your documents to the school, which is a little bit harder in my opinion. So yeah, these are all things to think about when you're choosing your school. Once you select your school, you can start the language program application process. These are the documents you need to apply to most language schools. Some programs require more or less, but these are the most common. Again, this list is not representative of every language school application. They could ask you for more or less documents. So first, you need to have at least graduated high school. Next, they will ask you for a copy of your passport. So I sent in a color copy of the first page of my passport. They're also going to ask you for at least one photograph. Just keep in mind that when you send this photograph in, this might be used as your student ID photo in the future. Some schools will ask you for a resume or a CV. Next, you're going to be writing a statement of purpose. So it's just, why do you want to go to language school? What is your motivation for learning Korean? Schools are also going to ask you for a bank statement proving that you have at least $10,000 in your bank account, and this bank statement needs to be issued within 1 month of the application. You're also going to fill out the school's application and the agreement for using personal information. Next, you're going to send in your apostille diploma. I ordered 2 of these just because my school had me actually send in the physical copy of the documents and I did not get those documents back, so I ordered 2, one for immigration and one for my school. Some schools might also have you send in your apostille transcripts from your last school. I also ordered 2 of these, although at immigration they did not use this document. You can apply as early as 6 months to a lot of the schools, and a lot of the schools are first come, first serve. While you're applying to your school, think about your housing and where you want to live. Will you live in the dorms or will you find your own housing? Dorm applications are usually applied for at the same time the language school application is done. The dorms usually go pretty fast and schools have specific rules for applying and living in the dorms. Please research the available dorms before applying to the school. Make sure you read up on the rules of the dorms. If you are coming from an E2 visa, you will be used to having your own apartment, and the dorms might not be something that you want. Some of the rules you might have to follow in the dorms are things like no pets, no electric items, including electric blankets, heaters, coffee makers, air fryers, etc. And you can't cook in your rooms, and you will have to reserve a time to use the dorm's kitchen. There are also rules like no visitors, no alcohol. If you are choosing your own housing, plan to look at apartments in your desired area at least 2 weeks in advance. I know this seems like a short time to look for an apartment, but in Korea this is pretty normal. Apartments go very quick in Korea, especially if they are within walking distance of the school. So if you see an apartment you really like that's in your price range, you should act on it quickly. Apps like Tabang and Tikbang are useful places to start, but never trust the pictures on those apps. Just use them to get a good price range on the location that you're looking to live in. And once you find an area that you like, you can visit a real estate agent or a budongsan in that area and tell them your price range and what you're looking for. You can sign a contract before your move-in date, so it's always useful to have a Korean friend help you as well. My boyfriend went with me, but there are many English-speaking agents as well in different areas. Keep in mind that you're going to need a deposit if you're thinking about getting your own apartment, anywhere from 3 million won to 10 million won, and also your monthly rent could vary from 500,000 won to 650,000 won. The next step is to pay for admission and gather your documents for immigration. Once you get accepted, you'll usually get an email from your school and they will give you more information on how to pay for your admission. Usually you'll need to pay for at least 2 semesters in advance, but sometimes it can be 4 semesters if you want a D4 visa. After paying, your school is going to issue you your certificate of admission. And usually you're going to have someone from your school as kind of your point of contact. So you're going to also need to ask them for the following documents. So these documents are going to be used for your visa application when you go to immigration. So they're going to give you your certificate of admission, but you also need your certificate of business registration, your certificate of payment. This one usually only shows 1 semester. If possible, ask for a certificate of payment that shows for how many months that you paid for. So if you've paid for a full year, see if you can get a certificate of payment that shows that you paid for the full year. Sometimes, if it only shows 1 semester, there could be a problem at immigration issuing you a visa longer than the 3-month time period. And the next 2 documents, I didn't need at immigration, but I asked for them just in case. So one of them is the operation status of the language school, and also the school schedule and training plan. Once you gather your documents, you can now make your immigration appointment. You have to go to immigration to change your visa, and this cannot be done online when you go from an E2 to a D4 visa. Before you make an appointment, make sure that you know that you can only change to a D4 visa after you finish your contract with your school or hagwon. If your contract ends February 25th, then you can book your immigration appointment on the 26th. Also, unless you already have housing in the same city as your language school, you will need to book your appointment in the city where your new address is going to be. You need to make this appointment very far in advance before the appointments fill up. So know the city and area that you're moving to so that you can make an appointment at the correct immigration office. You cannot go to any immigration office. It has to be the office that is connected to your address. You can book your appointment and see the times and days that are available on the Hi Korea website. You can change your address at the same appointment as you're changing your visa. For example, I moved from Gyeongsangbuk-do province to Gyeonggi province, and I booked my appointment in my new city, and I changed my address and visa in the same appointment. Once you get to the Hi Korea website, you're going to click on Pangmun Yeyak, and that's going to show you the available dates and times that you can book your appointment. Next is the school level test and orientation. The level test might include writing, multiple choice, and speaking. Schools have different level tests, but this was kind of how mine went. For example, my level test started at 10 a.m. and it ended around 11:30 a.m. There was writing and multiple choice, and that part took about 45 minutes, and the speaking part was less than 10 minutes. It was kind of like taking the topic exam. It had multiple choice. They were very similar to topic questions. So beforehand, if you could, please familiarize yourself with the topic directions, this test is going to all be in Korean, including the directions. So go over the topic directions. So if it says, choose the correct answer, choose the answer that's not correct, you should know what the directions are asking. My school did specify that even if you do really well on the writing part, you might get placed in a lower level if your speaking test is not good. So don't be discouraged if you get placed in a lower level. Just like teaching in Korea, going to language school is also a bit last minute and disorganized. You may not know weeks in advance about something. My school even sent out our results and placements 1 day before our school semester started. School orientation is usually the first day of class. What to prepare for your immigration appointment. The next step is to prepare your documents for immigration. Some schools do group registration for students, and some schools are not involved in the visa process at all. Unfortunately, because we are changing our visas, our timeline to get our visa is much shorter than the other students. So you will most likely have to prepare and go to your immigration appointment on your own. These are a list of the documents and forms that I brought with me, and I highlighted in red the forms that immigration needed from me. The first form is the number 34, and this can be found on the High Korea website. So this is the application form or the report form. So when you're looking at the report form, you're going to select change status of sojourn and also alteration of residence if you are going to change your address at your immigration appointment. You also need a passport size photo. Remember that you must show your ears in the photo. They're getting really strict about this lately. The photo that I brought with me, it didn't have my ears showing, and I actually had to use another photo. They're also going to ask you for color copies of your passport page, so make sure you bring 2. For some reason, they asked me for 2 when I went to immigration. Luckily, I did have 2 copies of my passport page. You need to bring your passport and your current ARC card. You also need to bring an apostille copy of your diploma. I also brought an apostille copy of my college transcripts, but immigration did not ask me to submit it. They did not need it. I just wanted to be as prepared as possible. Next, have a copy of your housing contract. Because I'm an American, I didn't have to show my bank statement, but I would have one prepared just in case. Make sure that the money is in your Korean account and not your American account. I'm not sure which nationalities need to show a bank statement, but I would have one prepared just in case, showing that you have at least $10,000. I also had to bring 130,000 won in cash to pay for the change in visa status and the change in my address. Immigration asked me for my certificate of admission and the school certificate of business registration and my certificate of payment. They did not ask me for the operation status of the language school or the school schedule, but I had it prepared anyways, just in case. The last thing I'll talk about is the national health insurance and your school insurance. It's really important to be in contact with the national health insurance as soon as your visa status is approved. When your hagwon or public school contract is over, the school will immediately cancel your health insurance and you might have to pay full price for insurance for 1 month if there is any overlap from when your school cancels your contract to when your D4 status is approved. My school canceled my insurance on February 26th when my contract ended, and my immigration appointment was the 27th, but my visa didn't get approved until March 7th. Because there was overlap, I had to pay 1 month full price, which was 150,000 won, and then the next 2 months at the student price of 75,000 won. So March and April, I paid 75,000 won. So in total, I had to pay around 301,000 won in April. Your school might also require you to have the school's private insurance too. This insurance is around 60,000 won for 6 months, and this is a reimbursement insurance, meaning that if you pay for your doctor's visits or treatment first, then they reimburse you later after you upload the necessary medical documents and receipts for your visit. Having both insurances is great. You can use your national health insurance and the private health insurance at the same time. Just be aware that they are different and be in contact with the national health insurance regarding your visa status. You can also check your account on the national health insurance website. I wish everybody good luck with their visa process, and if you have any questions involving any of these steps or if you had a different experience, let me know. Thanks for watching.